In March 2018, FBI agents descended on a remote Pennsylvania woodland with a federal warrant, heavy excavation equipment, and a mission they refused to explain. Witnesses heard machinery running at 4 in the morning. The agency later claimed they found nothing, but the video evidence they were forced to hand over was over 2,400 classified files and counting. What were they looking for? $100 million in Confederate gold that has been missing since the Civil War ended in 1865. To understand why the FBI was digging in Pennsylvania in the middle of the night, we have to go back 160 years to a Sunday morning in Richmond, Virginia, when a telegram changed everything. Confederate President Jefferson Davis was attending church service in Richmond when he received an urgent message that would launch America's greatest treasure hunt. General Robert E. Lee's defensive line at Petersburg had crumbled, and the Confederate capital was about to fall to Union forces. That night, 2 trains hurriedly departed Richmond under cover of darkness, carrying the remnants of a dying nation's wealth. The first train bore Davis and his government officials, along with Confederate records and documents. But it was the second train that would spark legends lasting to this day. Navy Captain William H. Parker commanded this treasure train, loaded with $528,000 in gold and silver bullion, worth over $11 million in today's currency. The cargo included gold ingots, double eagle coins, silver bricks, Mexican silver dollars, and even floor sweepings from the Dahlonega Mint. Most intriguingly, 50 kegs of Spanish silver reales, the legendary pieces of 8 from pirate lore, each containing 4,000 coins. What happened next reads like the plot of a Hollywood adventure film, and it has inspired movies from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to Clive Cussler's Sahara and Disney's National Treasure Book of Secrets, which featured the Knights of the Golden Circle's hidden gold caches. The treasure train reached Danville, Virginia on April 6th, carrying $327,022 in documented assets. As Davis and his entourage fled further south, they distributed portions of the treasure to pay Confederate troops and cover expenses. Confederate Secretary of War John C. Breckinridge oversaw much of this distribution process, transferring control of the remaining treasure from naval to army custody as they moved deeper into Georgia. When Davis was finally captured near Irwinville, Georgia on May 10th, 6 weeks after fleeing Richmond, he had only a few dollars in his possession. The Confederate cabinet had held their final meeting in Washington, Georgia, just days before Davis's capture, yet the location of the bulk of the treasure remained a mystery. Where did millions of dollars in Confederate treasure disappear? The mystery deepened on May the 24th, 1865, when bushwhackers attacked Union wagons carrying part of the recovered treasure near Chenault Crossroads, Georgia. These bandits, stragglers from both Federal and Confederate armies who had heard rumors of the transported wealth, made off with $250,000. Bank officials eventually recovered only $111,000 of the stolen money. The remaining $139,000 vanished into Georgia soil, spawning the first of countless treasure hunting expeditions. The man at the center of these legends was George Alfred Trenholm, the Confederate Secretary of the Treasury and the wealthiest man in the South. This Charleston financier, cotton broker, and shipping magnate served as Margaret Mitchell's inspiration for Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind. Like his fictional counterpart, Trenholm was accused by the U.S. government of making off with millions in Confederate assets. After the war, both the real Trenholm and the fictional Butler were rumored to have buried vast quantities of gold, waiting for the South to rise again. Trenholm wasn't the only figure to fuel these legends. In 1921, Michigan banker George Alexander Abbott made a deathbed confession that would launch treasure hunts in the Great Lakes. Abbott claimed he had stolen Confederate gold that now lay at the bottom of Lake Michigan. The connection? Colonel Robert Minty, The Union officer who arrested Davis was Abbott's brother-in-law. Disgraced by a wrongful court-martial, Minty later worked on the railroad, positioning him perfectly to intercept and relocate Confederate treasure. These individual stories became part of a larger mythology centered around the Knights of the Golden Circle, a secret society founded by George W. L. Bickley in Kentucky on July 4, 1854. The KGC, as historians call them, allegedly buried millions of dollars in stolen army payrolls across the American Southwest, money that now would be worth billions. According to legend, these buried caches were intended to fund a second Confederate uprising that never came. Southern historian William Rawlings explains the enduring appeal. Every legend that has any long-term staying power has a modicum of truth in it, and certainly this one does. People like to believe there is something out there. They left Richmond with a bunch of money, and when Davis' group was captured 6 weeks later, they did not have it. The question is, what happened? And people's imaginations take over from there. The legends gained credibility from occasional discoveries. In 1934, 2 Baltimore boys found 5,000 gold coins buried under their house, coins that experts later linked to the KGC network. Rawlings himself examined a Mexican silver coin from the 1850s, uncovered by a logging crew in the 1940s near a documented Davis camping spot in Georgia. Even today, metal detectorists occasionally uncover Civil War-era coins across the South, each discovery adding fuel to the treasure hunting fire. These stories exploded into popular culture throughout the 20th century. Beyond inspiring Hollywood films, Confederate gold legends appeared in novels, television shows, and video games. The 2018 History Channel series, The Curse of Civil War Gold, followed treasure hunter Kevin Dykstra's quest for Abbott's supposed Lake Michigan cache, based on that century-old deathbed confession. The show ran for 2 seasons and 19 episodes, demonstrating America's continued fascination with these mysteries. No modern story captures the ongoing allure like the FBI's secretive 2018 dig in Pennsylvania's Dents Run. Treasure hunting company Finders Keepers, led by Dennis Parada and his son Kem, brought federal agents to a remote woodland site after geophysical equipment detected a 7 to 9 ton mass that suggested gold. Armed with a warrant, FBI agents spent days excavating the hillside in March 2018. What happened next reads like a conspiracy thriller. Witnesses reported seeing FBI agents working through the night, hearing the distant hum of heavy equipment at 4 a.m. The agency initially claimed it found nothing, but its behavior suggested otherwise. Warren Gettler, consultant and author of Rebel Gold, noted, "We have compelling evidence a night dig took place and that the FBI went to some large effort to cover up that night dig." The legal battle continues today. After Finders Keepers pressed for information, the FBI initially said it could produce 17 relevant video files from the dig. That number has grown to over 2,400 files, most of which remain classified. A federal judge ruled in 2023 that the FBI may have found the gold, or maybe not, leaving the mystery unresolved. Dennis Parada's frustration is palpable. He said, "We feel we were double-crossed and lied to." This modern controversy illustrates why Confederate gold legends have such staying power in American culture. They tap into deep-rooted themes of lost wealth, government conspiracy, and the romantic notion that ordinary people might still discover extraordinary treasure. These stories persist because they offer something rare in our documented digital age: genuine mystery. The legends also reflect broader American attitudes toward the Civil War itself. In the South, stories of hidden Confederate treasure became part of lost cause mythology, suggesting that the Confederacy's wealth was preserved, waiting for eventual redemption. Across the nation, these tales fed into frontier myths of buried gold and hidden riches that defined the American West. Today, experts estimate various Confederate gold caches could be worth anywhere from $5 million to over $100 million, depending on historical significance and precious metal values. But the true treasure is not necessarily the gold itself. It is what these legends reveal about American character. Our willingness to believe in hidden wealth, our suspicion of government secrets, and our enduring hope that adventure and discovery remain possible in a mapped and measured world. The search for Confederate gold has shaped American folklore by creating a uniquely democratic mythology. Unlike European legends of royal treasures or ancient curses, these stories suggest that anyone with determination, research, and a metal detector might uncover life-changing wealth. They have inspired generations of weekend treasure hunters, armchair historians, and professional archaeologists to comb through Civil War battlefields, study period documents, and chase down family legends passed through generations. Whether any significant Confederate treasure remains buried is less important than what the search itself has given us. These legends have preserved Civil War history, encouraged historical research, and created communities of passionate researchers and treasure hunters who keep the past alive in the popular imagination. The mystery of Confederate gold stands as one of America's most enduring legends, precisely because it bridges documented history with tantalizing possibility. As long as questions remain about what happened to Jefferson Davis's treasure train, and as long as metal detectors occasionally uncover Civil War-era coins, these stories will continue captivating new generations of treasure hunters and mystery lovers, ensuring that the search for Confederate gold remains an integral part of American folklore. And if you think the government is the only one sitting on a fortune they will not talk about, wait until you hear about the man who almost melted down one of the rarest objects on Earth. He paid $14,000 for it. It was worth tens of millions. That story is next.